Hello. Can you guys tell me? I'm on a different computer. Can you hear me? Hello, can you guys tell me? Can you hear me? Hey, Priscilla. Yes, perfect. Excellent. The video didn't make any sound, so I wasn't sure if you guys could hear me or not. I'm on a different computer because when I listened back to the live feed last week, it was like the noise in the background, and yeah, I think my laptop's dying, so I'm on a different one. Yeah, cool. Excellent. So you know what's interesting, guys? One, I'm on a different computer. I'm on a MacBook, and I'm not a Mac, so I think I'm okay though. Um, I've forgotten my cards again, which is really interesting because I sat here, I don't know, 10 minutes before I was ready to get on. When I get the cards, I'm setting up everything, blah 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 blah, and I was like, oh my god, I've left my cards at work again. I have. I'm looking around for them, and you know what? I feel like that's a bit of a sign that's there. So one, I don't have my cards with me this evening, and two, I'm kind of going to roll with that tonight and say that I'm answering specific questions. Okay, so I'll see how that goes. If I'm drawn, you know what I'm like, I'll read to who I'm drawn to. But I don't have my cards, and I'm an energy worker. And as I always say, the more specific you are with the questions, the more specific I can be with my answers. I'm a visual person, and so when you ask me about something, what happens for me is that I kind of sit. I either get given information, but what I get a lot as well is like flashes. It's kind of like just boom, 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 boom. And it'll be just a flash of something, but it's forward. And in that moment, I get to see like how happy everyone is, what the season is, because I can tell whether I'm hot or cold, who you're with, who you're sitting with, all of those kind of little bits and pieces that are there. And so when I get something that I'm allowed to actually work with and sit with and, go, okay, cool, let me grab this, I'll always validate with evidence, but you guys always know that, but I get to be more Pacific. And so, yeah, that's my rant. Oh, it's not a rant, is it? That's my thing for this evening. I have been at uni all day. I'm there again today. I'm there again all day tomorrow. I am at Central Coast Spiritual Church on Sunday, which is a lovely, beautiful church. I've only demmed there once, so I'm looking forward to going there again. That's at Long Jetty. The address will be on my page. Okay, sorry, I'm a little bit to remember what it is right now, but it is definitely in Long Jetty, and it's number one something, but I can't think of it. But yeah, it's a beautiful church. It's an excellent little congregation. It's not little actually. It gets quite a beautiful crowd that's there. So Sunday, that's at 1:30 p.m. So I'll be there for then. So yes, let me just say, usual, no pregnancy, no legal, no health questions on the live. Perfect. All right. Excellent, excellent, excellent. All right. I'm just going to catch up with the comments. And as I said, guys, just for those of you that are checking in, I don't have my cards this evening. It's the second time in a row I've forgotten my cards. I've learnt well enough to listen to the universe and go, yeah, okay. But in that tonight, I am going to specifically try to be drawn to specific questions. When I say try to be, I'm going to read to who I'm drawn to. But yeah, sorry, I'm playing with a freaking stupid scroll thing here. Oh, there we go. I'm on a different computer for those of you that are going, what's she doing? I'm a little low. Okay. I am fed and watered. Okay. Oh yeah, beautiful. Let me click on you. So it should come up. Yep, excellent. All right, Wendy. I'm glad you are fed and watered. Yes, I am somebody who gets quite hangry. I'm no good to nobody when I'm hungry. So always stop and have a bite to eat. But yeah, let me just focus in and see. Now, when I talk about jobs coming up for you, I feel like there's a variance around you. I don't necessarily want to go, you're jumping, oh, you're here, there, Tom, Dick, and Harry everywhere, but I do feel like there's a variance between what you're looking for. Okay, so if you are being Pacific, I always say that wrong, but anyway, you're with me. I want you to kind of throw it out a little bit. As I said, I'm not leaving what I'm doing, okay, but I'm throwing variance into it. And you know what's interesting there as well? I feel like you've kind of sat back in the role that you've done and flourished in it, learned it really well. You've obviously excelled in things that you've done before. But I feel like in that as well, you're kind of keeping keeping yourself just in a kind of a frame, you know what I mean? And I want to, if you're sitting in an A5 frame, I want to bring that out to an A4. Do you understand? Don't be afraid to kind of go, you know what, I actually do this, or I actually can do that, or I have got experience with this as well. Okay, so just up the ante a little bit, and I think you're actually going to find that you'll move forward quicker into where you want to be by actually upping the ante. And when I talk about where you want to be, I'm talking about the shift that you want to make. Like even if you're looking to make an equal shake, I want to say no, don't upstep it. Okay, it'll flow quicker for you, and it'll feel nice around you. Okay, it's a nice energy that sits there. It's got a really nice, secure kind of long term feel around it. But it's interesting when I say long term, I want to say long term with growth. Okay, if you stay in the same rental, I don't feel any shift around you like in the immediate, but I feel like I could almost work with months, but they'd be like months coming up closer to a year, where I feel like either the owner's fixing something or they're wanting to do something with the property. And so it's funny, it's hard to actually shift you out. You know what I mean? So if you've been waiting for something to get fixed, you may find that does. But I feel like that in itself is like the beginning of, you know what I mean? So yeah, if you're looking to sort of stay a couple more years, I feel like I'm not too far off by actually saying that. If you want to move, you know what I mean? But I do feel like, as I said, there's something around the house in those later months. Okay. So take that. Love you for joining me this evening and hope that I've been of service. So guys, I'll tell you as well, just while I'm scrolling, Melbourne MBS is coming up as well. That's the 10th and the 14th of November. The Wellbeing and Mystic Fair on at Spears Point. For those of you guys that are local, that's always a really it's a really nice, decent fair. Basically, they've got a really nice array of quality stores and things like that there. Long story short, the lost my paperwork. I am in the readers' room. Okay, so if you haven't seen me advertise there, I am actually there, and yeah, they're fixing it up this week. Blah 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 blah. But that is on the 5th of November, and that's a great day for all kinds of purposes. And then there's the Live Your Light at Wall's End on the 20th of November as well. So, guys, for those of you that are just clicking in, I don't have my cards, and I am looking for specific questions this evening. I would read to you whether or not you have one or not, but yeah, the more specific you are with the questions. It's taken me a fat second, sorry, just because the stupid scroll bar keeps disappearing. I'm on a different computer. Vicky, I was just reading your question there. It's funny. Yesterday, I was outside at work. I was just in between clients, and I wanted to take a photo. I know how to I know how to sneak out onto the roof at work, basically, and it's not a sneaking out onto the roof; it's a pathway. But anyway, you got to climb through a window to get there. But I wanted to get a photo of the lake across the road. And anyway, long story short, I didn't get a photo of the lake across the road because wires and crap were in the way. But as I was looking on my phone last night, I got this photo, this massive bloody light thing sitting there in front of me. The security cameras are creatures are mysterious things like the moths, the cockroaches, and all those kind of little bits and pieces that are there. It's funny, but I want to say to you, like, you've picked that up, but there's other stuff that's been going on as well around, and like, keep it in context. I'm saying, ooh, but I do feel like you've actually like either been feeling some energy around other things, or perhaps heard a little bit of a noise, or saw something move. It's just that kind of gentle energy around it. So just enjoy it. It's a nice, peaceful energy, whatever it is that sits there around you. And as I said, even if it was like a bug that's come across in the camera that's there, I can't see it. So I want to say to you that I still feel like you're picking up other bits and pieces around. So yeah, let it just be a sign that it's a gentle energy at minimum. Should I study? When is the best time for me to start my study? I want to say to you, like, one, always make your own decisions around with that. But I feel like your routine is quite, I want to say out of whack, but I want to say full as well. But I don't necessarily feel that it's full productively. Okay. And it doesn't need to be, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not saying that there's any off balance with that, but as we bring in the study side of things, I feel like we just kind of like me, like like me. I took on 2 full-time courses and then had all this freaking crap happen and blah 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 blah. But at the end of the day, like I there was a lot I took on and I didn't necessarily allow for the routine to fall into place behind it. And I'm sitting here like I have 2 assessments due on Sunday, and I'm not even going to tell you where I'm up to with one of them because yeah. So guess what I'm doing the rest of the weekend as well. But do you see my point? You know what I mean? It kind of just all turns into a shit heap basically if you're not prepared as you walk into it. And so I feel like you can kind of overlay this over the next few months, you know, but and I see you've got the discipline. Like I don't want to, you know, I'm not trying to imply that you're all out of whack all over the place, but I feel like you get what I'm talking about there. There has to be space made for this, and right now I don't feel like that space exists, but it can quite easily. But just don't walk in blindly with it. Okay, I feel like this course for you is a stepping stone, so it's a like exactly where you need to be and everything else like that. But I feel like it sparks further interest, and so you may find like you either veer towards a specialty or a bit of a niche within it, or you kind of go, oh wow, I love this, and now I'm going to go and add this to it or something. You know what I mean? But I feel like it's a stepping stone for you. So understand as well to you too, like our vibe is our tribe, okay? And so like it's nice, I feel like you've got nice people around you, you've got good friends and all of those kind of little bits and pieces, but everyone's at a different point in time in their life. And so some people are kind of happy just cruising along and earning their money and, you know, getting to do this and that. Other people are, you know, off doing this, and other people are, you know, focusing on study and all that sort of stuff. And so, you know, it's not that we become displaced, but people sit here, people sit here, people sit there, and it can feel kind of really sort of foreign and strange to almost envision stepping out of what you're so comfortable and familiar with. And because you don't know what that looks like, we tend to subconsciously hold ourselves back as well. And so just what my point is that I'm trying to get to you is you've got this really nice spark that's there. I feel like you're super intelligent and at minimum passionate about what you're wanting to look at through that, because I can see a lot of good energy, a lot of good energy that's this. I can see that you flourish within what you study. Okay, basically is what I'm trying to say to you. So don't let work with the inner stuff that comes up around it as well, okay? And as it arises, you'll notice what it is, because it'll come in the shape of like procrastination and self-doubt and, you know, kind of like, oh, is this really what I want to do, when you kind of feel like you're having to make sacrifices along the way and all that sort of stuff. But I really kind of want, you can see, I want to encourage you to really sort of focus and make space for that, because you're going to be so happy that you did, okay? And so yeah, I really want to encourage you to sort of apply yourself and go for gold with it. It's a stepping stone that's gonna just, yeah, it's nice. Go for a funky ride with it. All right. Hey, Kimberly. Hey, Liz, I keep getting a feeling of wanting more out of life, but that more is I don't have a clue. Any thoughts, please? You know, it's I think in lots of ways we all kind of get that in our own way, you know. Bring it back home. And so like it's funny, like I try not to use myself as examples, but anyway. But you know, I spent so much time kind of like, I remember like when I was 17, I felt like I was, you know, behind what a 17-year-old should be as far as even what I had or owned or whatever. I was out home young. You know, 21 years old, 30 years old, I always felt like I was just sort of behind the eight ball and figuring out what it was I was supposed to be doing, you know, and everything else like that. And over time, what I kind of realized, especially over the last 10 years, is that you kind of find your contentment and your peace and your happiness in what is around you now, and find your peace and your balance around what has been. And as I always say, I know that those words are two simple sentences out of my mouth and yet two mammoth tasks. I get that. But when you sit back and you practice gratitude, and it's not about, oh, just be happy with what you got. It's not about that, but it's about having appreciation for what's around you and letting what is around you kind of fill you up and light you up. Then you've got a clear piece of paper, because you know that you're honoring everything around you. You know that you've kind of worked on things that you've settled with the past. And look, shit happens, you know what I mean? It's a perpetual emotion. You'll go for 5 years and something else will come up. I'm not saying everything has to be clear, but you find your peace, at least enough to be able to sit. When you can sit in that space, then all of a sudden you've got this thing around you where you're like, okay, I'm feeling pretty good. I know I'm doing the best that I can right now. I know this and I know that. And all of a sudden what is missing identifies itself, because it'll be sitting there. It'll be like, oh, but this isn't here. And then you'll be like, oh, okay. And allow yourself to kind of guide forward, because it's not about getting to the ultimate answer that's there. There's a I was reading the what is it, the big issue, is it? The magazine that that you can buy out onto the street and things like that. I'm sure it's called the big issue. But anyway, I was reading it this afternoon on the train. Now I've grabbed one this morning, and there's a 93-year-old who's studying a degree in aged care and care of dementia patients and bits and pieces like that. She was having a joke how she wants to finish the degree by the time she's 100. And see what I mean? She's 93. Like, our life never stops. We're not meant to kind of know, oh, this is everything. It's about finding the peace and the momentum and the drive and, bits and pieces like that. So I hear myself sort of droning on a little bit about it. So I'll catch it at that. But does that make sense? You know what I mean? And that's the thing. It's like it totally doesn't answer what am I supposed to be, what's missing, or anything else like that. But I'm telling you now, you do that to create that space around you. Give yourself like 6 months with it and create that space around you. I absolutely promise you, what is missing will become evident. And then it's just up to you to kind of step forward and go, you know what, I'm actually going to start working towards that, or, have the courage and all of those kind of little bits and pieces that are there. We get to live this life once. If we fall on our ass, we fall on our ass. You know what I mean? Like, who are we answering to on that final day that's there? Who cares? And it's something that I'm definitely learning to become more and more comfortable with. Those of you that have, you know, I've struggled with my self-criticism for ages, and fuck me, it is really nice to like finally just be able to go, you know what, I'm doing my best, and that's okay, and so just sit with all of that energy that's there. As I said, I know I've droned on a little bit about it, but it works, and it's my advice. I'll leave that with you. All right. I do actually, but I feel like there's a jump in between. Okay, so I don't feel like it's a straightforward move that's there, and I don't feel like it's where you've been either. So like, I feel like just I'll use what comes into my head, and it's where my familiar territory is. So I don't necessarily want to say it's specific, but say you're out like in the west, it's there. So Penrith, Blue Mountains, all that kind of area. I'm feeling like I keep going to the north. Okay, I keep wanting to go to the north. So like the North Shore, northern suburbs, that kind of feel that it's there. So it could be showing me either one, just that it's that top space apart, but at minimum, it's actually showing me that you're not in the same area of what you're familiar with. It'll be somewhere new for you. Okay, and it's a nice energy that's there and attached to it, but I feel like there's still a gap of time that's there in between it. I feel like it won't be under the circumstances that you think it will be either. Okay. And again, it's not a negative energy attached to it. But if you're picturing it as, this, and this right now, it's going to be this, and this. Okay, and it'll be. But as I said, it's a positive, nice energy that's there. There's a lot of lessons for you in between now and then. And I'm not trying to sort of imply, oh, life looks challenging, But I definitely want you to sort of just pay attention when things and challenges do come up, and rather than kind of going with it, have a look at the self-responsibility and the enablement in it. And I say that in a self-awareness kind of way, not in a, this is your fault. Not what I mean at all. I just mean like sit back and have a look at the role that we play in our own lives, and you're going to actually see, cool bananas. And there's a really nice sort of strength in there when I sit around that time. Okay, so go for gold with it. All right, where's my little scrolly bar gone? It's gone again. There we go. No, it's gone again. I'm such an Android user. There we go. Thank you. Beverly. I must say, I saw a photo of you. I think it may be your new profile pic, and gee whiz, that's such a beautiful photo. You look absolutely gorgeous in it. It's the same. There's definitely a nice shift in energy that's there. It may be because we're coming up to the warmer seasons and you're just going to be out a little bit more. Excuse me, I've got a tickle in my throat. Oh, my voice has been shit since MBS when I got to sit in lovely incense for 4 days. But anyway, I'll leave it at that. But yeah, my voice is still a bit shitty when I talk for a while. The energy is shifting around. Okay, it's nice because I know that we've kind of touched on this a couple of times, and that's why I sort of wanted to grab onto it, because it has been a little bit of a stagnant energy. You know what I mean? There's a shift that's there with it. you know, when you sit and you have like a new haircut or something else like that, and you feel nice with yourself, ride that energy out a little bit more. I feel like, yeah, it's got to come down to the self trust, basically. Like, I really kind of want to emphasize that. Just sit in and check in where you're at, but just know that you can trust yourself. And so, when you can trust yourself, what I say in that is that you're going to recognize that what's not going to work for you. So don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to kind of step forward. There's if the way that you're working it isn't working, it's got to change as well. You know what I mean? So as I said, be a bit more daring. Just you know what I mean. I say daring in your own personality context and everything else like that. But I feel it. I feel like you kind of more, yeah. Just I'm excited when I sit in the energy. You're more ready to challenge yourself a little bit more in it. And so I want to kind of validate that feeling around you and just step out forward. I still feel like there's a number of months around you before relationship, but I'd really like to see what I see actually come into fruition, and that is, like several cups of tea along the way, with different various folk and things like that. And it's not a bad experience. You'll probably get a couple of giggles out of it, you know what I mean? But that's part of the journey, and the thing that's there that gives you a funny story to tell. So just enjoy the ride, but most of all, as I said, just trust yourself. You've got this. And so, yeah, it's almost like time to sort of, you've been splashed around in the little end of the pool. Come on. It's time for you to go dive off the blocks. All right. Let the energy come in. Where energy goes, energy flows. If there's no energy going, there's going to be no flowing. All right. So enjoy. Yeah, it's all a little bit up in the air around all that, isn't it, mate? Um, what was that one? Will I be able to have 4 dogs live with me now my partner has passed? 2 are here, so I'm applying with council and I'm worried. I'm assuming there's a council application due to the type of dog, perhaps. I do feel like I'm sitting with a Pacific breed, but my analytical head straight away is going, why are we asking permission to have 4 dogs? Maybe that's a rule in your council area as well. There's issues with there will be like the area is not going to be deemed suitable, basically, but it's not that it can't be suitable. And I feel like you kind of know, oh yeah, I was kind of expecting that with this and expecting that with this. With strict conditions, and like strict conditions as far as like I'm feeling there's obviously some rule or something that's sitting around it. Like where I live, you fucking sorry, I shouldn't have meant to swear then. You want to put 10 dogs in your backyard, put 10 dogs in your backyard. If somebody complains, well, that's different. But yeah, maybe that rule does exist here. I just don't know. I've only got 1 dog, but I feel like there's a rule in place. But I feel like with strict conditions, and so I keep going to doggy daycare, and I know it's just an example. So, like for example, if the house is going to be empty through the day, these dogs are here, da 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 da. Space wise, whatever that rule is that's coming into play. I feel like if there's like but the dog walker comes at 12 and does this, or they go here on this day, or this other provision is in place, then that's the condition around it. Okay. I'm curious to see out of these 2 dogs if one is more of a concern than the other. You know what I mean? Or one's older, and so there's just a bit more like balance kind of coming around. That didn't come out the way that that may have possibly sounded. So yeah, it's definitely a headache attached to it. And for some, it's curious. Out of the 2 dogs, I'm more drawn to one than the other. Maybe that's a numbers game. A mate comes up. I hear the word mate literally comes up when I say that. I'm curious if there's been a friend to offer to take one or something else like that. And I want to say if there's an issue around separating the dogs and we don't want to separate the dogs because the dogs have been together, I do feel like there's still a connection that's there with it, and so I do actually feel like, as far as like it being a consideration of what's fair and things like that, I feel like there's lots of love sitting on both sides. So I get it, but I don't feel like losing a mate's always hard. I'm not going to deny it, but again, I feel like there's lots of love still on both sides. It's there. There's strict conditions, and there's an issue. I keep wanting to go to 3, not 4. Okay, so I'll leave that there with you. I would definitely stay in communication. I'd like call them as well. It feels like otherwise you're just going to be waiting fucking for a letter to come in the mail and like just be told. Whereas if I'm in communication with somebody, I get information quicker. All right, so yeah, I hope that helps. Oh, is there? Thanks, Lisa. There's a dude sending fake friend requests, slightly different spelling. Yeah, just be mindful of that, guys. Like I know that most users are onto it now as far as the live feeds goes, but I'm sure Facebook does their best in the background. However, report away, but I doubt anything will happen. And so just please, that's why I don't message. I just don't do anything. I'll go back over when the live feed's finished, but right now I haven't seen it, and so I haven't been able to. I don't see comments on this platform, which is a bit of a pain in the ass. But anyway, do not respond to messages. And you know it's funny, even they'll even like share like the live feed a few times, and that's why I write on there like it's a scam, and they still share it. Like idiots. I mean, yeah, I try to go back through. It's a pain in the butt though too. Sometimes Facebook's change and blah 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 blah, as you probably all see in your own feeds. But sometimes you go back to the live feed, and I'm seeing it as a live feed, so I can't scroll through comments. I can't do. It's really frustrating. But other times, I can. So yeah. So yeah, they always spell it wrong. I do not send friend requests. Thank you very much, guys, for throwing that through the comments. I do appreciate it. Gotta freaking hide, mate. Oh my god, this bar. Sorry, guys. I know it's taken me a while to swap in between readings, but I keep losing the bar. But hopefully my microphone's better at least. How do I make it come? So I've got to do that. I've got to just disappears again. Yeah, that's right. No genuine psychic reader will ever send you fake friend requests or solicit you for readings. And we'll always have a business page, and business pages can't send friend requests. And it's actually against Facebook policy to have a personal profile as a business as well. So the fact that they can send friend requests, oh, there's my bar. I'm going to grab that. All right. Belinda. Belinda, where are you? There we are. Belinda. Reaching out for guidance and assurance I'm on the right path. You're on the right path to the right path, and that's the right path to be on, I want to say. Try to go a little bit easier on yourself. Catch yourself when you're overthinking as well. Get a little bit used to your thought patterns. It's interesting, and I say it in a general context, but absolutely respectfully as well. It's sometimes, but when you hear, I've said it, but like I'm trying to think of an example, and I can't think of it. Like, oh, I'm an overthinker. There you go. I'll use that one. Oh yeah, I'm an overthinker. And do you hear that statement? I'm an overthinker. So in that, I'm saying I am an overthinker. I'm owning that. And so therefore, when I overthink, I don't stop to regulate myself or to go, oh, I'm overthinking, because I'm an overthinker. That's what I do. I just own it. I'm an overthinker. Yeah, that's normal for me. Ha 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 ha. And you know what I mean? But if you actually stop and go, I'm overthinking, and what that does and the angst that I go through for that and that goes through your head, you know what I mean? So kind of check in and just watch and see around yourself that's there, because I just feel like the part, like it's yeah, okay, so it's like we've got a choice. I see it in my head, so I kind of giggled. It was funny, it was cute. I got a picture of a little girl, not such a little girl, but walking down the footpath, and she was like, and kids, and they get that crossed arms and they're stomping then she's walking down the path. But then, they flip that over, and then I've got some like this beautiful little girl. She's skipping down the path, having this grand old time that's there. And so I feel like that's kind of, you know, kind of showing you got a bit of a choice here that's there. And so go with the flow. Have a look and see. And yeah, I always say it every single week. If you guys go back through my lives, you'll see at some point through the feed I say it. But there is always a theme that's there, because energy goes where energy flows. Birds of a feather flock together. And I feel like that theme is around there tonight, is checking in and actually recognizing and taking responsibility for self-awareness and things like that. And it's not in that journey. I want to be really clear, because I always find myself trying to go, oh, you're not this or you're not that. You know what I mean? It's not about doing the wrong thing or sucking at this or sucking at that or anything else like that. Taking a journey into self-awareness and actually understanding how you think and taking personal responsibility for that. It's not a reflection that you've done something wrong or anything else like that by any yards of the stick. Indeed, it's a beautiful quality that you bring into yourself and that you're going to be better off for it. And so you could be running like as a perfectly smooth machine, you know what I mean? But again, if you sit back, oh, yeah, I'm an overthinker, or I'm an overeater, or I'm a anyway, I'll start getting cheeky, so I'll leave it at that. But you get my point, you know what I mean? And so just sort of take that into point, because I do feel like there's challenges along the path, but I feel like these challenges you're already aware of, and they're like it's a challenge that feels like, for example, like when I study, I'm expecting a challenge, I'm expecting assessments, I'm expecting to, da 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 da. It's expected for me to move forward. I actually know I have to go through these things. Okay, so yeah, it's definitely on the right path that's there, but as I said, paths take you somewhere. There's a journey that's there, and but if you think about it in a metaphorical way, even when you walk along a footpath, your legs are going to get tired, the sun might be shining, you might need a hat, you might get thirsty along the way. By its own definition, a path, walking a path, not a path, walking a path is a journey, to get to an end destination. We're not like, we're there. So yeah, I hope you get my point, but definitely stick with your convictions. Know what it is that you know to be true, because you are on the right path. But again, it's a one that's taking you to a journey and to a destination that's going to then, probably have another path led to it as well. So take into account what I've said. I hope it helps. Thank you very much for joining me. All right. Energy goes where attention flows. Energy goes where energy flows. Attention goes. Yep, absolutely. What did I say the other day? Love flows where love grows where love flows. I thought, oh, gee, Liz, that was sweet. Yeah, thank you. Debbie. No. As I say on my live feed, to click there, do you guys see? You might not see that. Hey, I wonder about that. I mean, it's scrolling along the bottom here, but what I'm curious about is that, like, if you guys are just on Facebook and my live feed pops up, are you guys actually getting an opportunity to see what I've wrote about the fact that I'll never send friend requests or messages? I never thought about that, but that may actually be a point. I'll check that. Make a little bit of a more point through the thing. No cards tonight, guys. They're at work. Yes, they do. I like that, Vicky. That's a very accurate description. Priscilla. Sorry, I'm used to just pressing the mouse button. It comes up. I've got to click a button on this one. Priscilla, can I have a love reading? I didn't see that bit. Love. I've just got a song in my head. You all know I'm going to sing it for 2 seconds. It's a funny one. You know that one? It goes, love, the kind you clean up with a mop or a bucket. The last catacombs of Egypt, only God knows where you stuck it. Hieroglyphics are in the Pacific. I can actually do that whole song, but I'll leave it there. All right. It's always been meaning as well. You know what, Priscilla? I want to say to you, you know what you know, you know what you know, and so make your choices on what you know. There's, I just want to say as well, there's not been there's not been enough time. The lessons haven't been learned, okay? And so, regardless of where the energy is coming from, whether it's a you moving forward or whether it's a this, you know what I mean? Just be mindful because at the end of the day, like just to be completely straightforward, there's not been enough time. And what that is in there, the lessons haven't been learned. And I'm not saying, I'm saying that gently, like, but bluntly. But the lessons haven't been learned. Well, all I'm saying in that as well is that there's still good things to come in. I don't feel like the boundary setting is completely solid. I don't feel like the boundary setting is completely solid. And I guess when you sort of look at boundaries in its whole definition that's there, that probably sums it up quite nicely. Like there's this beautiful strength and energy that resides between, but there's this vulnerability that exists to the connection of love. And so for me, it's kind of like, let the rest of your life and the strength and the beautiful kind of courage and intelligence and everything else that flows there reflect just as equally into the decisions that you make on this side. Okay, so that's that thing. Like ultimately, when I see it, whether it's new, whether it's old, it's like what I see when I look at you is a beautiful, strong, intelligent woman, and I feel like when what is being mirrored back to you from that side makes you doubt that at times. And so, where does that belong? If it's to you, that's fine. But whether it's if it's just to you, then it's as I said, there's lessons still to be learned, basically. Okay, so take that into consideration as we're moving forward. I feel like a breath needs to be taken here, and I just want to kind of go, yeah, okay. So all right, here's a proposition, rather than go and sitting and going, yeah, okay. It's kind of like, all right, I hear you, and I see that proposition, but I'm going to put onto the table that prove it essentially. And I don't mean prove it. I mean, all right, let's make this work before we assume it works. Okay. So just kind of take all of that into a board and take it for whatever sense that it means for you. All right. And I hope that it helps. Yeah, well that's fine. Like, where'd you go? Oh, there we go. Stay still, you freaking mosquitoes. Yeah, sweet, and that's purely 100% my point. That's there is yeah, but right now there's still lessons to be learned, and so enjoy the journey and everything else like that. Because the fact that I've got to sit here and squabble, that's the wrong word, but you get what I'm talking about. There's energy there, you know what I mean, and I'm tossing and turning where it even sits because there's multiple, you know what I mean. So that's an absolute given. So take the time to keep strength building and everything else like that in the background. I don't want to change what I've said in a single way. Take it there and yeah, ride the wild ride. May as well ride the ride. Anyway, you have fun in the meantime, is what I'm saying. At the bottom of this, it has an overview, live chat, and more. Like button. This you can click on it, and it shows you. Click on it, and it shows you everything. Yeah, okay. It'd be nice if it just actually gave you guys a chance to see. Yeah, that's what I thought. All right, well, that's good to know. Thanks, guys. Or didn't even think of that. Let me catch up with the comments. It took me sitting in class today. As I said, I need to upgrade my laptop. It's not powering up unless it's charged, and the microphone sounded like shit. But anyway, I couldn't even find the hard drive. That was it. Sitting there next to the chick next to me, and I'm like, how do I find my files? I'm trying to find the bar for those of you that are sitting there wondering what I'm doing. I'm on a MacBook, and I've avoided. I don't use it very often. There we go. I've got it. How am I? I'm good. Yeah, agree, Belinda. I caught that one before. And I had it. I just kind of went, "Yes, it will be okay." And in that, that's what I want to say. May I have a general read? I want to know if everything will be okay. And so when we talk about generals in general sense, it's that. But yeah, look, everything is going to be okay. And I feel like as well that when we think about is everything going to be okay, it's not only just in a connection to yourself, but others that you care about as well. And so I don't want to say there's this huge thing going on, but I just feel like there's more than one point of focus when we think about is everything going to be okay. Um, it's I see it as a wave, and I feel like the wave is sitting and it's still just kind of rolling in. Okay, so I don't feel like all of the energy is ready to settle quite this at the moment, but everything is settling. It's rolling back in. You know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. The wave crashes and then rolls up to the shore. Um, Have conversations with people around you that need to be had, and I don't feel like there's this whole, da 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 going on, but I just feel like there's been an allowance around either like a family member or a really close friend, partner, there's someone that is close to you that there's kind of always an allowance made for, and I feel like there's an annoyance in that, and it kind of makes you perhaps not feel so connected to this person where if that wasn't there, you otherwise would have been, and so I just want to say to you, kind of just use your voice within that, okay, where that applies, and just yeah, I hope that that helps. Yeah, I know it was general, but as I said, I did sort of see your question before, and in my head I was just like, yeah, 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 okay. But take in what I've added in with that, and I hope that that helps. Don't go away, Grandpa. I've seen it a couple of times, and so nobody take it personally who has actually written it. But what do you see in my future is kind of like, yeah, your whole life. That's what it's too that's the probably the broadest a question can get, and it's yeah. You guys will see in my readings, so if you book a private reading with me, I don't do general readings. I will give you everything that comes up, so it'll absolutely have, stuff beyond what you ask, but I only work with specific focuses. And I've been asked a couple of times why I do that, but at the end of the day, like one, you're paying good money, and two, me as a person, I'm very analytical, I'm very poignant, I'm very literal. So I want to know specific points, and I want to know this, and I want to know that. So if you're asking me how a relationship's going and things like that, I'm going to sit there and describe your partner to you before I actually even look at the relationship. So when you have a reading with me, you get to have all this really specific information, and that's where it's what's just want to see what you get. I'm like, I get your whole freaking life, like how hard it is to sort through that and go, okay, well, what should I pick? Okay, you know what I mean? And so I can be a little bit of a smarty pants around it sometimes, and I go, you've come for a reading, you've paid a decent amount of money to have that reading. I want you to get the most out of your time. And so I liken it to, would you go to a doctor and say, oh, I'm sick? And the doctor will go, oh, what's wrong? And you go, huh, I just want you to figure it out. Or you're going to sit there and say, yeah, this is the general area that's not feeling well. Now you use your skill and expertise to figure it out. Does that make sense? And yeah, you just get way. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. But what is in your future is a question that is just like very respectfully, but just so you guys know, it's yeah, you can't get any more vague and general than that question. Oh, hello, Sherry Tishonana. Nick Stevenson, I pick up some energy around your pick and some massage on your love life. Oh, you're getting a massage in your love life. She's gonna love you long time. $5. um, future and career. Send me a friend request for your insight reading. Fuck off, Sherry. Bye. Massage. Sorry. We all know what I'm talking about. Um, yes. I want to say yes, Jenny. It will. what have I been described as? I've been described as a helicopter parent, which is really funny because in some ways I'm so am, but in other ways I'm not. Um, What my point is in even saying that is, those moments when we're sitting and we can get that, and we're ready to kind of go to battle. Just take a breath and finish listening to sentences beforehand. And don't get me wrong, I'm not suggesting you fly off the handle or anything else like that. But I just feel like there's, if we've kind of walked in expecting A, I feel like there's A with B. Okay, so I just feel like, yeah, ultimately I just want to say yes, but it's almost like, if we're looking at a straight path, we've just kind of got to do that. Okay. And I feel like there's interaction involved along that. It's not just that the path is slower as well. So ultimately we get to the outcome that we want initially. But it's a little bit more involvement perhaps than what was anticipated. But again, in a positive way, there's just a, you know what I mean? That side of things. Long term, I want to say that it actually feels beneficial as opposed to it just actually being a straight path. Okay, so I hope that helps. All right. Uh, Rini, I think you're talking about the Mystic and Wellbeing Fair because originally, I'll run through. It was at Raymond Terrace, and then it was at Newcastle, and it was at the old train station. So if that's the fair that you're referring to, oh, you might be even talking about Live Your Light as well, because that was kind of at Merriweather, which I guess is Newcastle too. I'm logistically challenged people, so if you say Newcastle, it's pretty much everything up for me. But if you're either one of those two that you're talking about, that's there may be a couple. I know there's a couple others that flit around that I don't necessarily do, not for any reason, but those are the two there. So okay, I will tell you. On the 5th of November, the Newcastle one that's normally at the train station is no longer at the train station. It's at Spheres Point, and it's on the 5th of November from 9:30 till 3:30. On the 20th of November at Wallsend West Diggers, I believe it's called. I'll have to double check. Is the Live Your Light Expo, and that's the one that was at Merriweather. And both of these events are huge. Both of the event coordinators put in a massive amount of energy and effort on these, and they're both really passionate about it, which is why, out of all the fairs, that don't do anymore, not for any other reason. COVID changed a lot and things like that, but these are definitely nice quality fairs that I've wanted to stay attached to for a reason. I'm in the readers room at Wellbeing and Mystic Fair as well, just while I'm crapping on about that. Crapping on, diddling on. I didn't mean to use the word crap as far as that goes, because that is a beautiful day that I'm actually excited about. But you'll see, it was actually really nice. They just for whatever purposes lost my paperwork in July by accident. And so when I followed up on it, they're like, oh, da, 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 they were going to give me a stall outside. And I was just like, I'm not going to be able to manage that at this point in time. And then I'm like, just don't forget me on the next one. She's like, no, we're making space for you in the reader's room. You've always been here. And I was like, oh, that's really nice. So yeah, I will be there on the 5th of November as well, which I know is not what you asked, but what I'm telling everybody. And so that's the only two I can think of off the top of my head. And yeah, they both just happen to be over the next 2 weeks. So enjoy. Oh, you're welcome, Jenny. Thank you. Vicky, Raymond Terrace isn't at Raymond Terrace. That is the one that's gone to Spears Point. It just got big. So yeah, they're there this time. You know what? I want to say ultimately yes. And everyone's got a story, and that's the thing. I think just be aware, like especially when it comes to family and people that we care about. Ultimately, everyone's got flaws. Nobody's perfect. You know what I mean? And so it's kind of like, all right, I will have a connection here, but I do so with the understanding that I may need to be aware of this, or I may need to be aware of that, or I may need to be aware of that. The best specific example I can give it, which is no way am I saying is connected to your brother, but think about somebody in addiction where you're like, I still love this person, but I'm aware that there's an addiction there, so I can't do this, this, or this, or this. You know what? Does that make sense? It's there. And I'm not saying it's to the depth of that. I just want to make a kind of clear example that there can be a connection that's here, but don't set yourself up to be vulnerable. Just kind of walk with your eyes open, because whilst I feel, yes, the intentions are clear, there's still, as I said, still lessons, personalities, and just kind of the ways that people are that aren't necessarily going to change ultimately. Okay, so just be mindful as well. um, at the end of the day, if it looks like a duck, walks like a duck, and quacks like a duck, it's quacking and it's a duck. So just take that as it needs to be meant, and I hope that that helps. Oh my God, Charlotte Linda. Let's bring you up on screen. Hi, inbox me. I have a reading for you. This chick is a scam. Just so you guys know, again, there's always freaking there. Dipshits. Block. Bye. Danica, as you may have caught when I was just reading one a couple of moments ago, when we talk about everything working out being okay, ultimately everything is always going to be okay. And I think that that's always important to remember. But I want to say, like in specific to the question that is there, that yes, it will be. It will be. It's almost like I'm taking a breath and I get in there by the skin of my teeth, and I don't want to blow that out of context, but take it as it sits. But yes, ultimately, I do want to say yes. There's like a cluster of questions that I could click on. Um, yeah, nice. Good. You asked at the right time, Rennie. There's a cluster of questions there that I could click on, but I'm not going to go through them all individually. But pay attention. Pay attention. There's always a theme of the night, and I guess it's not for you guys to pay attention to, but I notice it, and it's very much about the self-awareness, personal responsibility, and what we enable in our lives. That seems to be like the theme of the evening that's there. And it's birds of a feather flock together is probably where we've all been over the last few weeks. But I would just want to say within that, like when we're talking about will I be okay, is it going to work out, am I doing the right thing, all of those kind of bits and pieces. What I'm grabbing that's there as a cluster answer is that energy that's there. It's kind of like it is, but where do you sit in this? What are you doing? Oh, and Danica, I know I'm sort of carrying your name still up there, but I just sort of want to carry it on from that as well. What are you doing in there? Where's your personal responsibility? And again, like it's not meant as where's your personal responsibility? What are you doing in it? Like that's not how it's meant to be. It's like, you've been putting in your best effort, you've done all of these things to kind of get to this far. And so now let's just sort of take a step back and see, all right, what role am I playing in things being off balance? Because at the end of the day, if there's a situation or a person that is causing an off balance that's there, it's not the person or the situation, it's us in keeping it there. It's our enablement. And absolutely, I get that as human beings and providers, we don't just get to go, well, I don't like that job, I'm going to go swap. We figure, you know what I mean? We've got priorities and everything else like that. So again, keep it in context, in the general cluster. Danica, I'm not pointing that at you. But yeah, just kind of sit with that, guys, because as I said, like I've probably just jumped past about 5 or 6 questions that were all sort of sitting together that had exactly the same energy that's there. It's like, yeah, but I just swallowed my own spit so badly. The universe telling me to shut up. Obviously, my eyes are watering and my voice is gone. Ugh. I fully went down the wrong hole. My throat is itchy right this second. Give me a second. We'll just sit here, watch Liz choke on a live. Tears running down your face. That was funny. It always happens on a bus. You know, like you're sitting somewhere and you haven't got a drink. Anyway, I'll leave the cluster reading there while I take another drink. I literally have tears running down my face. It was like a little bullet hit the back of my throat. Choke, bitch. That has to be the worst choke that I've done on a live feed. Sorry, guys. Just riding the wave. We're pretty much at an hour nearly anyway. But I wasn't finished. So give me a second. Probably sit there and have a giggle. Oh, wow. That was intense. My nose is running as well. I don't have any tissues. That's all right. Okay. Yes, I am mostly. I talked too fast. As I breathed back, I literally I always drink warm water. I freaking hate cold drinks. But yeah, as I breathe back, anyway. I think I'm okay now. But my nose will sound a bit stuffy because I'm like literally sitting here choking on screen. They're telling you something. You know what? Absolutely. Like I always pay attention with that. As I said, I literally just breathed back my own spit then. I felt it hit the back of my throat. As crass as that sounds, that's what happened. But metaphysical energy is such a thing, and it is such a amazing way to read into the body. Oh, don't worry, Vicky. I'm sitting down, so I'm all good. But yeah. I'm not far behind. I've given birth 4 times. I totally get that. Just looking for the grey bar. All right. I'm going to do 2 more. I've been told to slow down. Yeah. I've actually drank heaps today. I found a nice little juice place outside of Central Station. Because I always catch a train out. Just no frigging way I'm driving down to Sydney that time of morning on a weekday. But anyway, yeah, it's nice. I normally get out on the other side, but today I got out on this side. But yeah, anyway, my point being, there was a nice little juice place, and so I had that full juice, and I was sitting in class drinking, and I was like amazed at how much I peed in the afternoon. I'm choking and dribbling. I may as well tell you about my whole. Yeah, that's why I couldn't speak. Otherwise, I would have just sat there and coughed and coughed and coughed. Come back, grey bar. Yeah, can't say I'm keen on this. I wonder if it'll let me do that. No, it doesn't let me do that either. Come back. Oh, for fuck. Yeah, the little scrolly bar. That's what I'm fighting with. Just so you all know. Thank you. Yeah, I would trust your gut on that, Danica. Maureen, yeah, but you know, yeah, I'll bring it up. Maureen, yes, but just through practical knowledge and what I'm shown as well is that you'll kind of probably be in the same boat. Is that you may find that ultimately say we need 10 grand. Okay, let's just work on that figure that's there. And so you'll be given like three or four. And basically, what the idea of it, and it's not the idea of it at all, but what I was advised in the background and what I'm shown immediately is, as I said, the same thing you're going to cop, is using that resource that's there to begin and do what you need, but in that as well, to get the report or something else like that that you need from that person to justify why you need more, and then it builds on, and then it builds. You know what I mean? It's I am by no means an NDIS expert at all. I'm literally just telling you what I was told directly from me, from the horse's mouth, around that side of things that's there, because I was like, what the hell? Like, there's, you know what I mean? She's like, yeah, this is what is going to happen. I have an autistic son, and so that's where that sits into that side of things that's there. So they're just showing me that you're going to have that same side of things. So don't be too disheartened around it. At the end of the day, yep, ultimately it can cause, delays and bits and pieces, but it's a system that is by far from perfect. So kind of take what you've got and work with it, rather than sort of allowing yourself to be angry or frustrated with it, because it is, as much as it is a pain in the ass system that's there, it is a system that's there at least. And so just kind of be prepared to be patient with it. Okay. I hope that helps. All right, guys, I'm going to I missed that one. Let's wait 5 minutes. I'll look at it. It's probably a bunch of you Mac users sitting there frustrated, going, just do this. Why are you doing that? Tell me what this is. Like, I've got all the comments sitting there, and normally I can just go to the side of the comments where the grey bar is and bring it up. But until another comment comes through, the grey bar is just like not even there. Cough it up to you. I think the only thing I've got left to do tonight's fart. Hello. Thank you for joining me. All right, I'm just gonna frigging. Oh my god. All right, Anthea. And Anthena, my apologies. I haven't got my glasses on there, sitting here. But if I put them on, he's got that. Eyes good. Yeah. All right. What will we do for job promo? Everything feels in place, but it's like I keep hearing catch-22 though around with it, and I'm feeling like an example I can use is that it's like, okay, so say for example we get said promotion, and said promotion in our heads automatically dictates said move. It doesn't feel concurrent like that with it, and it doesn't, you know what I mean? Or there's a catch-22 with it that's there, and we can skip over it, but just kind of make sure we're getting in all the information. We've got a lot of awareness around us, and all of those kind of little bits and pieces that are there. Things, I don't want to say things aren't what they seem in a bad way, like necessarily, but I kind of feel like I've either got in my head that it's one way and it's another, or I've read something, you know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily want to say that you've been told something and it's another thing, because that just feels too deceptive, and I don't have that energy around it. But that's kind of the example that I'm trying to make without that deception and energy attached to it. I'm pissed off, like I'm frustrated and annoyed in between that. I don't want to take that away from it. But again, in context, you know what I mean? It's like, oh, why wouldn't they tell you that? Why does it have to be that? Why can't they just do it like that? That's how I'm feeling. So, I wonder if the promotions were. There's a catch. There's a catch-22. It's almost like, okay, yeah, yeah, but you've got to go here first, or you know what I mean? As I said, things aren't exactly what they seem, but I don't necessarily want to be deceptive in it. All right, but again, I'm annoyed. So yeah, just kind of check everything over with it. You may find, as I said, that the job sits there before the move, but it just doesn't feel like it's as straightforward as that. Yeah, it definitely feels like one thing moves before the other, and that in itself may just be the frustration and annoyance, equally so. But yeah, I'll leave that there with you. I hope that that helps. I don't, as I said, I don't want to say nah, but there's you can see that's like yeah, no, these two things aren't moving concurrently with each other. It's like that. Oh, not backwards, sorry, but like, yeah. All right, so I hope that helps. Thank you very much, guys, for joining me this evening. It has been all kinds of colourful tonight, which is nice. But yes, I need to go and sit and study for a couple of hours before I get some sleep and get on a train at 5 o'clock in the morning. So I'm going to love yous and leave yous. As I always say, if you can't be good at it. I will be not live next Friday. My son is marching out and then being deployed to Brisbane. And I'm not going to say that any more than what it is because then I'll cry online as well. But however, anyway, his march out is on the 4th of March and 4th of March, 4th of November, and very proud of him, but very sad to see him go. Anyways, have a good week. I will be live next week. I'm just not sure what day. I'll let you guys know on the page. All right, so be good, have fun. I'm off to the city again in the morning, and I always enjoy the energy there. So looking forward to that. All right, if you can't be good at it. Catch you all soon.